Hello and welcome back to the Nest and Inside the Iggles live show. Thank you guys very much for joining us. Today is Friday, December 5th. I'm bad at dates. All right. I'm never going to be good at dates. I'm never going to be just get over. Maybe I'll just stop saying the date. I'm going to stop doing that. That's going to be my New Year's resolution. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us on whatever day it is today. It's just Brandon Pockris and myself. Brandon, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Had a flight today, so I'm in Florida and my ears still haven't popped yet. So
That's
great
hell.
start. It's going really well, but very excited to talk about what looks to be another pivotal Eagles matchup. One that, a few weeks ago we probably wouldn't have thought would have this big of an impact.
No. Is this still gauntlet? Are we still gauntleting right now?
This is your So basically, I think the way I would look at it is like this is like the epilogue of the
Yes.
gauntlet, where
Yep.
it's like you're already through it, but this is like the last chapter. Because I wouldn't consider the Seahawks, this like absolute juggernaut, but it's a part of that stretch where you're playing all these good teams.
That makes sense. This is if this is Red Dead Redemption 2, we're John Marston right now.
Yes.
Okay. We're
Yes.
we're at that part of the season or that
You're
part of this.
you're heading towards the first game
Okay. There we go.
in terms of Red Dead, not the NFL season, because that
Yeah.
would make no sense.
No, I get it. That's good. But yes, we are here. Bounce back, bounce back, bounce back is all I've been telling myself. I've tried to. It's hard to get through it, but somehow I have. I've tried to put these last 2 weeks behind me. I've heard things from people. Saw on Twitter people like, "Oh, the game against the Cowboys wasn't as bad as it looked." And I'm not trying to look any deeper than what they've told me. But before we get into that, I kind of want to look at things from a wider view. I can't remember if it was earlier this week or at the end of last week. We had a little bit of discussion about future OCDC moves. Okay, now so last night was the most fun I've ever had watching football, where the Raiders put up 63 points. Man, I really wish that they did they broke the record. It seems like they could have, because that Antonio Pierce is a damn psychopath. But Brandon Staley gets fired. Okay. And I had this
As he should.
he
As
should
he
have.
should.
He should have a long time ago, but he did finally today, after his very funny press conference where somebody said, "Do you think you should get fired?" And he said no, or like, "Do you think you should be here tomorrow?" And he said yes. So, very very funny. The guy doesn't understand what the hell's going on. But it's just another team that is going to need a new head coach. Okay, and I had this thought in my head today. Tell me if I'm dumb. Tell me if I'm dumb. I don't think that the Eagles should change coordinators next year. Is that dumb? Because this was my thought. All right. There's a whole bunch of teams that need new head coaches, and a whole bunch of teams that haven't fired coaches that might do that. Like the teams that need new head coaches. Tell me if I'm forgetting one. We're looking at probably, or that definitely need one, is going to be Raiders, Chargers, Panthers. Is that the only three that are without head coaches right now that are interims? Okay.
Yes,
And then
that's only three.
teams that'll probably need new ones. Commanders, maybe the Bears, maybe the Patriots. And I'm probably there's probably other ones too. Maybe the Saints would be probably be smart. These are the teams, these head coaches, like you're thinking like offensive coordinator for the Lions, Ben Johnson's probably going to be a head coach. But all of these teams are going to be taking the good coordinators and putting them into positions where, like, into the head coaching roles. That means that the good guys that are on their teams are going to be backfilling those roles, which would again mean that the Eagles would be scraping the scum from the bottom of the barrel to fill their position. Because last year they made it to the Super Bowl. They didn't get to pick the cream of the crop for the coordinator positions because they were playing so late into the season. Am I dumb for thinking that the Eagles should stick with the guys that they have? Because if they got anybody else, it would be these dirtbag losers.
I think it depends, and I feel like that's a cop-out answer.
Yeah.
But on one hand, continuity is so important in the NFL because, yes, it looks like this right now, but what does year 2 of the Brian Johnson scheme, year 2 of the Sean Desai scheme look like? Maybe you're getting towards that Shane Steichen level offense when Johnson has a chance to actually sit down, review the film of this past year, and go like, hey, this didn't work, I'm going to implement this instead, or this worked, now I have to build upon it, right?
Right.
Desai, you're once again, hopefully adding some more talent to the back end of that defense, giving him more to work with when it comes to the secondary, whether that is the safety position or the cornerback position. They need to add linebackers. Like, if you make the right moves, Desai's job becomes a whole lot easier.
Right.
Where now he isn't dealing with one of the oldest secondaries in the league, right? But
Yep.
then you have the other side of it, right? If it gets to a point where the defense is just getting exploited week after week after week, and it seems like there isn't that progress being made where you need to see that on the offensive side of the ball,
Yeah.
doesn't matter about continuity. So I think that's the difference. And also it depends on what type of candidate can Philadelphia bring in.
Right.
If one of these younger defensive coaches, because obviously you're not getting Belichick in a coordinator role, as cool as that would be.
Right.
Do you have to elevate someone to an assistant head coach role just to be able to add that coordinator to your staff, right?
Yeah. Speaking of which, what the hell is Matt Patricia doing? I haven't thought about that, but you mentioned the assistant coordinator, and that just sorry. Keep going.
I don't know what he's doing. He's doing something for the Patriots. It's evidently not
No,
working.
Matt
but-
Patricia's on the Eagles staff.
Oh, he is on the Eagles.
Remember
staff.
going into to week 1, it was the
Yes.
Matt Patricia game, and we're all like, "What the hell is Darius Slay thinking of Matt Patricia right now?" Yeah, he's on the staff somewhere
buried, but it's to that point, right, where we can talk about keep them or get rid of them, but until you actually know who's available and who would actually be replacing Desai and Johnson, it's an incomplete conversation. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm leaning towards just keep him right now because of what the craziness of this cycle could be.
Yeah.
But until you like certainly know each and every candidate that could possibly get one of those jobs, and maybe even some of the current position coaches that could be elevated to coordinator roles, you don't have that full picture. And the biggest part of the full picture, and I don't know if this is a transition or not, is how the Eagles finish the rest of this season, starting with this week in Seattle.
Yeah. But that is a good transition, but I do want to backtrack just one quick step. Over under 0.5 coordinators that leave the Eagles. Do you think that it's going to be just one? Do you think none leave? Because I mean, again, it's going to be open season for coaches. Do we think that BJ or Sean Desai gets poached, for lack of a better word?
I'm gonna go with over, just because of how the defense looks. Because I think if it's one of them, I'd personally want to move on from Johnson, but I think Johnson, if either of them were to leave, Johnson would be the one to stay. Because I feel like the defense, it could get bad to the point where Desai's just like, yeah, I don't want to be here. I'm gonna go figure this out somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
No, if you gun to my head right now, I'm saying both stay. Okay. But there's so much, once again, that can develop over the course of the next few weeks where that picture isn't complete yet.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like we saw, the Cardinals hired Jonathan Gannon before they watched the Super Bowl. So on them. Okay, let's talk about this this Seattle game. I think a good spot to start is with the injury report for the Eagles. The injury report is kind of what we expected. The people that did not practice, and again, this is just a Friday injury report. The game's on Monday, so this isn't a complete end-all, be-all kind of a thing. But Zach Cunningham did not participate with a knee. Cam Jurgens did not participate with a pec. Darius Slay did not participate with a knee. Darius Slay, we kind of imagined that one because he had been dealing with that going into the Dallas game. I don't think he practiced all week and then played. The Zach Cunningham one was kind of interesting to me because he had been on the injury report last week with a hamstring. I don't know if the knee is a totally separate thing. Don't know which knee. I don't know if the hamstring thing turned into a knee thing. But that's trouble. Maybe because honestly, if he's not there, what the hell else is going to change? It can't get worse. Cam Jurgens is a startling one to me. He came out last game, didn't he?
I don't recall.
I think he
might have. I
think he was out with like a chest or something. I guess pec his chest.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like hockey where they're just like upper body, lower body.
Yeah.
And then Reed Blankenship.
That's the concussion.
Yeah, but he was a full participant. So he's probably going to be good to go for Monday, which is awesome because he can tackle. So that's a very nice, swell, splendid thing. But talking about the defense, overall vibes, where are you at with this defense and their ability to stop? I don't even want to say the Geno Smith offense, the DK Metcalf offense. Who is DK Metcalf? Not notorious, but has had his way with this Eagles defense in the past.
So I guess to paint the picture, right? Using this analogy way too much tonight. I'll figure something else out. But with this defense, I feel like the first red button's been pushed already.
Yes.
Right?
One key has been turned.
And it's like my hand's hovering over a bigger red button. Basically, what that's saying is if this week goes as bad as it could with the way, number one, if Darius Slay isn't out there, I'm horrified about the Eagles cornerback group this week.
Okay.
Because I like Bradbury, but it's like you're dealing with JSN, you're dealing with Metcalf, and you're dealing with Lockett, right?
Yep.
And obviously this is predicated on Geno playing. There is ample opportunity for those guys with how the Eagles secondary has been playing to just eat up yardage, beat them over the top, and really just have their way because they scheme their guys open really well. They have guys that can win one-on-one matchups. And quite frankly, when Slay or Bradbury haven't been out there, the younger guys, they can compete for a little bit, but they're not going to consistently be able to shut down the Metcalfs of the world, the JSNs of the world, the Locketts of the world. So this is the game where I'm like, can they fight back? Can they put up a fight? And yeah, maybe they give up 14 points through the passing game, but maybe you're finally getting that turnover or you're getting a few pass deflections that you weren't getting. The most important thing is for a team that's already bound for the playoffs, at least in the secondary, show some signs of life.
Right.
You need to show signs of life. And if even more so, if Darius Slay isn't out there, it still applies if you have Slay. But without him out there, you have to be able to show that your depth options can hang with upper level receivers. It's simple as that.
To kind of address the first thing, looking at the Seahawks injury report right now, Geno Smith was a limited participant in practice, and I imagine that he's going to play. He was like a game time decision last Sunday against the 49ers, and they ended up not playing him, but I'm fairly confident that he's going to play. This is still his elbow thing, correct?
I thought it was his ribs. Is it his elbow?
Oh, wait, no, this says groin right here.
Groin, yes.
Okay.
Groin.
So it's a totally different thing than the elbow. Maybe the elbow's feeling better. He's still wearing like that, whatever, that sleeve or something like that.
Yeah.
Not that really, or did he hurt that during the Cowboys game on Thursday?
The groin, yes. He hurt it during the Cowboys game.
I meant the elbow, or was the elbow from before that?
Elbow was before.
This guy is.
He's banged up. We're almost 3/4 of the way through an NFL season. Every guy's dealing with something.
Right. Yeah. So I'm thinking he is going to play. I don't think we're going to get the Drew Lock experience this week, which kind of a bummer. But maybe in a mobile, Geno Smith could be a benefit to a seemingly tired Eagles pass rush. But going back to the DK thing and not having Slay, I'm not entirely sure the Slay thing matters for this because you see Darius Slay, Terry McLaurin has his way with Darius Slay. DK Metcalf also has his way with Darius Slay, going back to what I think the 2020 season.
Well, I was just talking on like a totality with the secondary, where it's like if you don't have Slay, it's making things a lot harder this week.
That's probably fair. Have the Eagles had any? I don't think they have this year. I don't think a Sean Desai defense has gone up against a guy like DK Metcalf. We're talking like
In terms of like size, speed,
Yeah, size, speed. Like the two best wide receivers that they played against, Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb, Debo ish, but they
that was gonna be my thing. I think the closest thing they faced is Debo, and
yeah.
well, we saw what Debo did to the secondary.
Yeah. Now the I mean obviously the thing that stands out about DK Metcalf I mean aside from his size is that speed. He's
Right.
been clocked as the fastest player I believe this year for next gen stats. I think what was it like 20 almost 23 maybe like 22.5 miles an hour or something like that. Um the way that they defended Tyreek Hill is that they stopped him in his tracks and made him dance. If you remember that Dolphins game, they just made Tyreek just kind of wobble back and forth, and then they gang tackled him. Because if there's multiple people tackling, they can do that. One person on their own, apparently they cannot. I don't think that's the way that DK Metcalf is going to do this. Is the best way to defend him? Well, we don't have CD Deuce anymore. Is there anybody on this defense that can shit talk enough to get him worked up and get him to quit? Or not quit, but fight.
The good old Kyle Shanahan strategy.
Yeah, where's Big Dom? Is Big Dom allowed on the field?
Hey, you never know. They could just sign him to the active roster.
It just doesn't. I just don't have faith. I would almost welcome and I know I said don't do it, but I would almost welcome an Eli Ricks or a Keely Ringo because like at least they're fast. Yeah, Keely Ringo gave up the holy trinity of a terrible play last week with the completion and then 2 personal fouls. Like, yeah, he allowed that, but at least he's got speed. Like, there's I don't think Darius Slay can keep up with a DK Metcalf on the run.
The problem with Ringo would be, do you trust him to stay with DK in coverage?
I don't trust him at all.
Like that's the thing. Yeah, he's fast, but if DK hits a double move and he's just streaking down the sideline wide open, it doesn't really matter how fast you are. A good quarterback like Geno is going to get him the ball. So it's like,
right.
It's very difficult with this matchup because they just don't have the personnel right now. And we were fans of Ricks and Job this offseason. Like
remember that pick 6 that Eli Ricks got in the preseason game? That was
exactly
4 months ago.
We were very excited on this show to watch this young cornerback group play. And look, there's still time. No one's just writing these guys off after one bad year collectively, but it's just this is a very tough matchup for them. It's a very tough matchup. And, maybe what you're shooting for is something like the Miami game where your front just dominates to the point where your secondary just has to make one play and that can really seal it. The problem is, after a game like San Francisco, after a game like Dallas these past 2 weeks, the confidence just isn't there that they can deliver on that. And it's not even talking about the talent of this team or the fact that they couldn't do it, because they do have the ability to do it. It's just with the calculus, basically, the way it is, I just don't know how it happens. I don't know how a James Bradbury in his current state, a Darius Slay, who's definitely banged up, Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, whoever they're trotting out at slot corner at this point.
Don't forget about 32 or 31-year-old Bradley Roby.
Bradley Roby, exactly. I don't see them slowing down Metcalf and JSN. Lockett maybe a little bit, but Lockett still has speed.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. This needs to be, if the Eagles want to shut down the Seahawks offense, it needs to be a Jalen Carter game.
Yep.
It needs to be a game where the front seven just imposes their will on the Seattle offensive line, which is 1,000% possible, by the way.
Yeah, no, they're banged up.
And
they're not banged up, but they're not good.
And basically hit Geno, get him off his spot, and create turnovers from there. That's the way you have to slow down this offense.
And that's unfortunately something that this defensive line has not been doing recently.
Right.
Now, to be fair, they've been playing against some really, really good offensive lines. Like early in the season, that was the thing. Like, yeah, Jalen Carter's going off right now. This guy's going to be defensive rookie of the year. It was against, I mean, to be fair, it was against what? New England. It was against the Vikings, the Buccaneers, Washington. I guess the Rams offensive line isn't great, or at least they weren't at that point, but it was against really bad offensive lines. Then you get to this. That's one thing that's kind of been the common denominator with these with this gauntlet we've been doing, is that it's been good offensive lines, man. It's been good offensive lines. Talking Cowboys and Chiefs and Bills and San Francisco and Cowboys again. Like, those are good offensive lines. This is not the same caliber of offensive line. There's a very good chance, and this is kind of one of the matchups that I wanted to get into. While it's not head to head, but it is important, is the matchup between Devon Witherspoon, if he plays, and Jalen Carter, because they're both playing in the same game. It's going to be in prime time. This is kind of the battle for the defensive rookie of the year. And I think you might be right. If there's a time where Jalen Carter can get back with a full head of steam and start smashing dudes again, this is kind of going to be that spot. I think this is a great spot for that. Do you know off the top of your heads who the favorite is for defensive rookie of the year right now?
I mean, I can pull up the odds. What sports book do we want to go off of?
Yeah, whichever one you have bookmarked.
I have a lot of them bookmarked.
Go offshore. Let's see what Bovada has.
Now I'll do FanDuel.
About lowvig.com.
All right.
Mybookie.ag.
All right, we get it.
I know him. I know him, baby. That's what happens.
All right,
when you live
so
in a place that's not legal.
Looking at, so we're gonna go with season awards, right?
Yeah. While you're doing that, I'll kind of fill it. So kind of the difference between these two players, that, like I said, Jalen Carter, incredible start to the year. Devon Witherspoon, he's not the reason that the Seahawks have lost 4 straight games. Like, he's been playing good football, and there's a very good reason that he is in this conversation. What are we looking at?
So on FanDuel Sportsbook, Jalen Carter is minus 800.
Okay, that's
Devon
big.
Witherspoon plus 800.
Oh, wow.
Will Anderson plus 1,200. And then you got your 3 guys at plus 10,000 odds: Brian Branch, Joey Porter Jr., and Byron Young for the LA Rams.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, it is pretty handedly in Jalen Carter right now, but there is a chance to slip. I mean, like we see with the favorite for MVP, it changes every single week. I said it on Monday. This week it's going to be Geno Smith is going to be MVP favorite. I don't know, man.
Sidebar: I had a parlay out where, or our future parlay, where I had Stroud winning offensive rookie of the year.
Okay.
Jalen Carter winning defensive rookie of the year, and this was pre Rodgers injury. I had Saleh winning coach of the year. Would have paid over $1,000 if that hit, and I'm probably gonna get 2 of the 3 legs nailed.
Ugh.
You hate to see it. Honestly, if the Jets made the playoffs, that probably would be the case, and obviously there's still an outside chance.
Yeah,
but
we're looking at the Jets potentially being a team that might need a new head coach next year.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like,
if you can cash out, baby.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
No, it's not.
I'm pretty sure that's a song.
Especially what other rookie could potentially be a offensive rookie of the year?
Gibbs, I would assume.
Jahmyr Gibbs, and
Puka and Bijan.
Yeah, I was trying to think first round draft picks, but yeah, Puka, that's a good one. Puka or Jahmyr Gibbs. I've seen people still trying to fight about who should be comeback player of the year. People are now like, oh yeah, Brock Purdy could do it, buddy. You're talking about what's his name coming back from leukemia, and DeMar Hamlin died. Cut it out with the Brock Purdy talk. I'm done with that. I hate his stupid face. I don't like him. We're done with Brock Purdy. He's not even the most valuable player on his team or the most comebackest player on his team. Okay. Anyway, also as far as defense go, what? So I kind of put this on the rundown. What is the verbiage that I use? What do you want, need, and hope to see from this defense? Let's start with what? What do you want to see from this defense?
Impose your damn will.
Okay.
Please impose your will. Show why you have been one of the best defenses in the league for the past few years.
Right.
It all starts up front. You get that pressure, you start making Gino or whoever's that quarterback second guess, you're going to create turnovers and you're going to help the Eagles win this game. Create pressure, cause problems for the offense, impose your will. That's what I want to see.
And I'm assuming that you're talking about specifically the defensive line where the Eagles have put a absolute metric shitload of resources into.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, for me, that's a need. I need
that's a need, right?
Yeah, for me, I need the defensive line to do that. If there's any semblance of a shred of hope for this defense, it can only be the defensive line.
Well, I think we might be flipped with my second one because my need is I need the secondary to fight back.
Oh,
fight back! Like if I had a direct line to the Eagles, I'd be sending them the Michael Irvin video. No one believes in you. Basically, sending them all that video because you need the secondary. Because that is the only way you are getting to the level of success that you want. The secondary needs to step it up. I don't care how it happens. I don't care what you need to scheme up or what you need to do. You need to make the secondary work better than what it is. I'm not saying you need to turn into the Jets or a team that just has lockdown corners and doesn't let teams throw on them. No. But don't let every single receiver just run free. Put some pressure on the receivers to perform, and things will look a lot better.
See,
that's the need
for me. That's my hope. That's a thing that I think that's a long shot. I hope that the defensive backs can do that. Like I have like the two levels. I trust you, but I don't have faith in you. I don't trust them, nor do I have faith in them. I think, and I mentioned this on Monday. The defensive backfield is the infection is spread too far. Nuke it. It's done. See, for me, I hope that they could do that. Now, my want is turnovers. I want turnovers. Because it comes with the defensive backfield. If they can't cover, at least pick the ball off. We've seen Reed try to do it a few times. Bradbury's got pretty greedy, and it worked because he played smart. It wasn't like him getting burnt or anything like that. But that pick that he had against Josh Allen, I want more turnovers. I believe the Eagles are, if not the last, I believe they're very close to the bottom of the league in interceptions. We just saw what the defensive line can do last week with the Fletch strip sack and the Jalen Carter scoop and score. Like I want turnovers. If this defense, the defensive line, I need them to impose. I want them to get turnovers, and I'm hoping that the defensive backfield can. I mean, I don't want to say pull itself together, but look moderately less than serviceable. Is kind of what I'm hoping for. What are you hoping for?
I'm hoping for a game full of complementary football. Now, what do I mean by that? Basically, I want Jalen and the Eagles offense to not work from a deficit right away.
Yep.
I want to see how this offense looks with a neutral game script, with a game flow where they're not clawing from 10 points down, to where they can impose their will and get that confidence rolling again, where they can be like, hey, we can do this. We are this good. Where you're having that instead of, oh man, we're down 10 again. We got to fight back. Because if you get a few of those games, or if you get a game like that against Seattle, and then you carry that into Arizona, and then the Giants games, right? You are going to build that momentum that is absolutely critical heading into the postseason. If you have another one of the games where you start slow and all of a sudden you look up at the scoreboard and it's 10-0, and Jalen Hurts is having to throw the ball 40 plus times again, and Brian Johnson has to hit the Jalen quarterback draw button over and over and over again, it's not going to work. It's simply not going to work.
Yeah, and I think that all plays together with the defensive line and everything, because you get even, yeah, like you said, even a neutral. I mean, the reason that the Eagles got so many sacks last year, and
They didn't trail.
yeah,
They
they
did
didn't.
not
They were
trail.
able. I mean, the defensive line was just able to get after it. Like, teams had to throw. They had to move the ball downfield. If the Eagles can, even a neutral, rather than a team that, it's very frustrating. And I don't even, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even know if that's a valid thing, because what the Eagles defense is doing right now is, yeah, you can't run the ball on us. You can't run the ball on us. I dare you to throw it. I dare you to throw it. You won't do it, bitch. And then they do, like, well, no, wait, no. So, wait, I didn't mean
It's
that.
like not like that.
Please keep running it, please. I appreciate if you didn't. And that's kind of where these two blowout games have happened, is because teams are like, yeah, we can't run it, and you guys can't defend, so we're just going to blow you out instead of trying to keep it, instead of making it a close game. So that's where I am with that. But you are right, to go back to it. You are right that if the Eagles can get that neutral, that even a neutral game script, they'll be able to make all those other things link. Before we talk about offense, I did have a point, and it's you know what, impromptu Jake's takes. Impromptu Jake's takes is what we're going to do right here. A lot of to do has been about this Chiefs play, the Kadarius Toney being offsides.
But before you continue,
Yeah.
I'm happy I finally get to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay. You want to know? You want to know?
I do want to know.
Patrick Mahomes ain't that good.
Oh boy.
Patrick Mahomes ain't that good. Kadarius Toney. What is Kadarius Toney known for this year?
Screwing up.
And what specifically? What? What has he been doing poorly this entire season?
Everything.
Well, catching the ball.
Oh well, yeah, but
He's not been catching the ball very well. It was a backwards pass that Travis Kelce threw, right? Kadarius Toney caught that, didn't he?
Yeah, but it was kind of
Kadarius.
the easiest pass you could catch.
Yeah, he caught it. He caught it. Who threw that? That was Travis Kelce threw that. But he can't.
All right.
Kadarius Toney's having trouble catching the ball from Patrick Mahomes. Isn't that right?
I think you're looking too deep into this part of it.
I don't think I'm looking deep enough. I don't think I'm just scratching the surface here, baby.
Okay.
This is a scab, and I'm just getting a little lip of it off. I am not done with this. I am not done with this. Patrick Mahomes, uncatchable balls? I don't know.
I think my perspective on this situation is Mahomes is one of the best QBs in football, but man, did the Chiefs overlook the fact that you need people that can catch the football from one of the best quarterbacks in football. Like, the crazy thing is, it's not even to a point where it's just average guys. The majority of their wide receiver room outside of Rashid Rice is below average, to the point where I don't know how many teams they're actually like getting legitimate reps on NFL rosters. And yes, you still have Kelce and you still have Andy Reid, but there's only so much the quarterback can do. You see that with Jalen and Philly as well.
Yeah.
Like, only so much can be done by a singular player in this game. Now, for that whole fiasco with the
beautiful
with the offsides and Mahomes saying after the game that play is going to cost Kelce his all of that, man, just
what a coward.
Let's just take a deep breath.
No.
The guy
let them air their grievances. Let me have it. Give me that sourpuss. Give me the, well, I can't believe they would. I'm sorry, that was not a Patrick Mahomes voice. I can't believe they called a penalty on that. Well, it didn't even affect the play. Oh, hey, Pat. No shit. No shit, stupid. If only that wouldn't have something like that wouldn't have helped bring up your legacy. You tone deaf, unself-aware moron. Oh my God. What are we doing? What are you do? Did he do that on purpose just to make me angry? Like, what are you talking about? I want to punch him in his stupid mouth. He beat the shit out of me, but I'd still punch him just so he knows I don't like him. All right.
To finish my point.
Yeah, sorry, I got a little hot. A little hot.
To finish my point, the Play itself, look, Tony was covering the football. That's an offsides every time.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
there's some times when the refs don't call it, but look, it's it's whatever. Like the refs are the refs. My take this entire year, they need more accountability. If you're gonna call it the one time, call it every time,
Yeah, I mean
right?
this is like even in the week one against Detroit with Jawan Taylor lining up in the backfield the entire game,
Yeah,
everybody's like, "What the hell is going on here? Like, what? Why are they not calling this? What the hell?" And then they did, and people are like, "Finally!"
yeah. And the funniest thing, he was lined up the same way on that play. So you have Tony on the front side of it, Taylor on the back side. It would have been a penalty either way. And
Yeah.
the second part is, you know that I like Mahomes as a quarterback. The fact that they were complaining, like you said, was probably the most tone deaf thing I've seen, considering the amount of leniency this team has gotten over the years in terms of calls. The Super Bowl. Oh, how could we forget on this show
That's what
what
I'm
happened with the
saying, man.
Chiefs in the Super Bowl? This season, they should have lost to the Jets. The Phantom Sauce Gardner defensive holding.
Is that the one where what's his name took his helmet off in the end zone
No,
and they didn't get a call? That was a different game.
different
All
game.
right.
I'm pretty sure that was the Vikings game the next week. So, like, there's these situations where, hey,
Oh my god.
if you're not complaining about that call, you're complaining about the call that didn't go in your favor. I get it. I do get it. But, like, understand the context of what's going on. The refs suck for everyone. Don't only complain when it benefits you, when it doesn't benefit you.
It's so funny how like Patrick Mahomes complaining about a flag. What on honey, bless your heart, Patrick. Bless your heart. The refs are out to get you, buddy, aren't they? Like to see you try to you know what? Hopefully what this does is that this starts getting the refs to stop doing like where Patrick Mahomes points everything. I was like, "Well, what the hell was that?" Like hopefully they're like, "Yeah, Patrick,
I hate
where are you talking shit? We heard you doing that." Guess what? No, not this time. You just got domed up.
I hate when every player does that, right? Like, there's a whole flopping compilation for Josh Allen. Like, guys
Oh yeah.
do this in the league, but it's the same thing with the NBA, with every other sport. Guys are going to embellish for calls. It's going to
Draymond was right.
happen. You know what? I will save that conversation for a day in the off season. That's something that we will talk about later. But that's a completely different story. But back to the NFL refs, right? The refs are always going to screw up.
Yep.
There's going to be bad calls no matter what. That's the reality of not just football, but every other sport. What needs to change, though, there needs to be accountability for those bad calls instead of teams getting these statements issued to them midweek when the game's over, being like, you know what, guys, we're sorry, we messed up. It's like the South Park scene when it's just
The
the
BP
BP
oil
guy.
spill.
We're sorry, sorry. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. It's not even a frustration about the Chiefs or the play itself. It's just be consistent. If you're not going to call it one way the whole game,
Right.
don't call it that way with a minute left, with the game on the line, just so you can get some screen time.
Yeah. Probably something to be said for that. On the flip side of that, there was that I don't know if you follow NFL ref stats on Twitter.
I don't think so.
But they tweet out like if there's a ref and like there's a like whoever's calling it, like the head referee who's calling a game for the NFL, if they have like some like crazy amount of stats, like whoever the hell it was that was the head ref for or is it an umpire? I don't know. But anyway, the guy that was calling the game for that Eagles Dallas game, he was like 7-0 for the Eagles when they're playing the Cowboys, or 7-0 in the Eagles games or something like that. Like Eagles are 7-0 and this guy's calling the game. And they tweeted this out, and then a whole bunch of people were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe the refs are going to help him again." And then Eagles fans are like, "Hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about that?" But then it ended up not going that way. But yeah, it's just one of those things like, what the hell is going on? Or
Yeah.
who's the ref that every single time Chris Paul plays against him. I can't remember. But yeah, there's always lopsided stuff like that. It's not good. It's professional sports, and everybody's going to bitch.
Exactly. So let's talk about the Eagles' offense. What do you
Correct.
got?
Let's move on to that. The side of the ball that we actually have faith in. I don't want to speak for you, but this is the side of the ball that I feel like that the Eagles can finally actually do something. All right. Matchup wise, Devon Witherspoon, like I said, he actually did not participate in practice today. He has a hip.
That would be gigantic.
It would be
in this game.
That would be a monstrous or a monstrous
monumental.
Now, on the flip side of that, okay, here's the deal. When the Eagles played the Jets, the Eagles realized that the Jets didn't have their two starting cornerbacks and then just threw the ball forever and ever, and it did not work. Is there a chance that the Eagles could see that the Seahawks are down a wide receiver and try to do the same thing?
Yes, but here's the difference. I don't think the Seahawks have the same front seven that the Jets did. So I think it could go a lot better if the Eagles did utilize that type of game plan against Seattle.
Okay. I didn't think about that. That is true because what's his name? Huff.
Ridiculous player, by the way.
Yes, but yeah, again, they don't have those same kind of edge rushers. We're also looking at Jamal Evans did not participate in practice today with a knee injury.
Jamal Adams?
Jamal Adams, correct. Did not participate. I can't read. I have it right in front of me. He did not participate. I don't know if that's a good thing because Jamal Adams, congratulations on being able to get in the box and light people up on the run game. But, buddy, you stink in coverage, friend.
He cannot cover. He has not been able to cover since he got to Seattle.
Yep.
He doesn't like when people on social media point out that he can't cover. He goes after people because, all love, #LUV. But, yeah, I'll keep it there.
Jamal not practicing is good. Again, yeah, if he has a backup, his backup probably stinks.
Right.
But also his backup is probably better at coverage than Jamal is.
Yeah, but at the same time, you could look at it where it's like, hey, no, Jamal, the Eagles run game has a better shot of being productive.
That is true. And I'm trying to think of a good spot to go from this. Do you want to do the want, need, and hope?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What do you want /need/hope, want, need, or hope to see out of this Eagles offense?
So I'm debating between for my want and need. I'm gonna go with something different for want because I know what the need is.
Yep.
My want is please design looks for Devonta Smith and AJ Brown early in the game.
Okay.
Please, just scheme them open. Throw a screen pass or 3 to AJ. Throw a few slants, just some quick, easy, quick hitter stuff that just allows AJ Brown or Devonta Smith to get into a rhythm with the ball in their hands. Hell, even design a screen for Dallas Goedert.
Yep.
Or 2. Get your main guys involved right off the bat so that the opposing defense in Seattle is like, okay, we know this is coming, but we're not sure who they're going to quote unquote hyper target in the sense of it can be any of the great. I see that. Please no early screens to Julio Jones. I'm begging you, Brian Johnson. Nobody needs to see that. We don't need to see that. If you're going to call that play, call it from one of your best guys.
Yep. I'm actually pulling this up right now because you mentioned the screen to Dallas and then also not to Julio. I'm looking up Julio's stats right now because there was that time there where he was getting those screens and we're like, what the hell is this? I'm wondering right now, were those the weeks that
it probably was. It probably was. Yeah.
I think those might have been Dallas Goedert plays. I'm looking up the game logs right now. KC, Washington, or KC and Buffalo. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those were definitely. I think it's very I don't think it's presumptuous to say that those were Dallas Goedert plays that just so happened to go to Julio.
I know we joked about it, but they really did treat Julio Jones as their backup tight end.
Yeah, he's a gigantic man. I mean, what are you going to do? Jalen Hurts clearly doesn't trust Jack Stoll, Albert O, or Grant Calcaterra to catch the ball.
Yep.
We've all seen the clips of them being wide open and Jalen be like, I'm actually going to throw it into a tight window. So that, and also he did throw it to Albert O, and Albert O dropped it. So that is also something to look at.
What about you?
But which one did you just do?
I did want.
Want. My want is for running back specific pass plays. Not the F it Kenny Gainwell's on the side. We need to get him there and just like a dump off thing like that when everybody's covered deep. I'm talking I want to see DeAndre Swift get involved in the passing game. We know that he's good at that. We know that he's good in space. There's been plays. I remember last year, maybe it was early this year, where there's plays built for Kenny Gainwell where he's gotten the ball 5 yards deep. Maybe people are like the AJ and Devontae, and I think maybe if it was last year, Quez have all run deep, take all the coverage deep, and then right in the middle there you get a Kenny Gainwell. If you get that ball to DeAndre Swift, he's going to get yards. He's going to get yards. So that's what I'm wanting for. Now, I speaking of running backs, do you think? Okay, so Nick clearly gets the bit with Boston Scott. Do you think Nick lets Rashad Penny have a revenge game?
No,
you don't think so?
I feel like if he would have slowly been building up towards this game. So to just completely throw Penny into the equation now, like maybe he'll be active and get a few more carries, but I don't think it's going to be this crazy revenge game where it's like, all right, we're giving Rashad Penny 15 touches today. Let's see what happens. Like I don't think that's something you just break out now, unless the plan the entire season has been you start this week and then work towards the playoffs with Penny.
Right. Yeah. Because I'm thinking if they did start Penny, they would have to take somebody else off. Like they'd have to, and it'd probably be Boston Scott. But Boston Scott's also the kick returner. Well, they have OZ and Boston Scott in the back now. I don't think they want to do Rashad Penny like that. Man, it would be cool if they did, though.
It would be cool. Absolutely.
Like, maybe if this game wasn't so pivotal, maybe they would. But that sucks. I always like getting a revenge game for somebody. Speaking of which, Sean Desai revenge game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I want is the wide receiver, or not wide receiver, passing game to go through a running back a little bit. Like last week, we saw that, and I'm sure you saw it. Every single target was to AJ, Devontae, or Dallas Goedert, and I'm torn on that because yeah, probably, but also it just makes you incredibly single faceted.
So that now we're on to need.
Yeah, sure.
Balanced game plan, and have a game plan that goes along with the flow of the game. So what does that mean? If the run game is working and it's working really well, don't just reverse course and go to the pass game. Use that to then build up to a play action pass game, to build for different stuff later in the game. Lay the groundwork for a shot to AJ Brown, a shot to Devonta Smith early, where you're not in a situation where the defense is like, yeah, they're going to take that shot, to where you lull them and then you hit them over the top, right? Yeah. If the pass game's working, stick with that. But like you said, involve the running backs. Don't have the same concepts. If you want to use Jalen as a runner, set that up for later in the game. Don't show your hand right away with that quarterback draw.
Okay, so I have a couple thoughts there. Number one, Seahawks love cover 3. Seahawks love cover 3. They don't just do the cover 2 shell. They don't do that. So lulling them into having a deep shot open for AJ, that might be a little bit tougher. That might be get them to go from cover 3 to cover 2. To be fair, the Eagles have been throwing against cover 2 shells all year long, and clearly it doesn't normally affect AJ Brown as long as he can catch the ball. So you might be onto something there. Um, the other thing, it sounds like what you're kind of talking about is like some good sequencing, right?
It's just like I've said before, just kind of felt like the past 2 weeks have been disjointed on offense,
Yeah.
and a huge part of that is playing from behind, right?
Yeah.
You can't run the same offense you do in a neutral game script and a positive game script when you're immediately down. That plays a huge role into it. But I just feel like I need to see more balance, right? Not this, oh, you need to literally be 50-50 down the middle, but like even a 60-40 split would
Yeah.
be ideal in my eyes.
And 60-40 passing to running, I'm assuming you're
Yes.
saying? Okay.
Yes.
The other thing that, man, I kind of, and I don't want it to be QB draw. But what I want, I think that there is, and we kind of saw it last week. I think I said this before, is that
I
like oh, go ahead.
no, I should definitely clarify. I meant like the design Jalen Hurts runs. I when it comes to Jalen running, and this was going to be the hope
Yeah.
section for me. My hope is that they just put the onus on Jalen to be like, when you want to run, run. Where
Okay.
it's like you're not having the design runs necessarily as much, but you're putting the onus in your superstar quarterback's hands who knows how he operates, who knows what his limits are, who
Yeah.
knows when he needs to take off and not take off. I'm putting that in his hands to handle that because I just get terrified that a random first and 15 or a second and 15 quarterback draw, Jalen's going to take the wrong type of hit and it's
Right.
just going to derail everything. And they call it a lot. Like it is a huge part of the offense. Jalen is such a good runner. He's one of the best TAM runners of the football in the league. But you have to also remember this is a guy that's already been banged up this year.
Yeah.
And you don't have, oh, we just want to win regular season game aspirations. You have playoff and Super Bowl aspirations. I feel like that has to be kept in mind more, especially you're in December. It's colder. The hits are going to be felt a lot more. You can't just risk it for no reason now.
Yeah, especially in the regular season when you have some games that are much easier on paper than they should be.
Yeah.
The other thing with that though is I kind of do want to see a Jalen run in the first drive, like we saw
Okay,
last week.
that's fair.
You
That's
see
fair.
that just so they have to respect the fact that Jalen can do it. And I'm not saying AJ. I want a productive Jalen run. Like that's where I'm at with him running. Again, I don't want it to fall completely on his shoulders, but that running game is going to open up a lot more if they actually do respect the fact that Jalen can run. My need is that no, I'm not saying no turnovers. Listen, I know that's crazy. I know that's a wild. I'm not going to get no turnovers. Let's limit them. My need is we just limit the turnovers because that's what happened last game. If the Eagles moving down the field, you get to the Cowboys side of the ball, you get inside the red zone twice, and you turn the ball over. Yeah, you're not going to win, friend. You're not going to win. That's a bad strategy. So my need, just less. I'm not asking for zero. I'm not being crazy. I feel like I'm being pretty even and keel right here. Just it's not. Let's just limit them a little bit. So
Fair.
that's my one. My hope is for a running game. My hope is for
It's not much to ask for.
No, it's not. No, it's not. My hope is that we get some kind of running game like we saw in the first month of the season. That's what I'm hoping for. I know it's going to be a thing where they probably want. I'm just hoping that they can do something like that. I want Adrian said he needs to see AJ have a big game, and he wants Kenny Gainwell and Swift to run for at least 60 yards. I hope we can hang 28 points in this game. I'm just wanting a cohesive running game. I want next week to be like Eagles have a running game. That's what I want to say is going into this easy stretch of games where they can take their foot off the gas and not have to have a low stress end of the season against some easier teams. I just hope that we can get a running game going. That way we have that as a framework for the final stretch of the season. That's what I'm hoping for.
I think you hit the nail on the head right there, man.
Whew. All right. Got that out. Do you want to do predictions for this?
Let's do it.
Okay. What do you got? Or you want me to go first?
I'll set the tone.
Okay.
I am predicting the Eagles win
Yes.
because I have to. Not in the sense of I have to because it's an Eagles show. Because I'm absolutely terrified if they lose this game for a myriad of reasons that we will discuss next week. This is a must win. Not a must win in the sense of,
Do or
they're
die.
not gonna be a playoff team, or no. It's a must win in the sense of the Eagles playing that extra game with the way their team is right now would be not good. Not good at all. Not having that home field advantage would be not good at all. You lose this game, all of that's out the window. All of it.
Yep.
No, I don't care about the schedules of the 49ers and the Cowboys. They both play some tougher teams. The Eagles would immediately be in a much worse spot, and you would probably start to hear more noise. But with my prediction, that's not going to happen. I have the Eagles winning 30-23 in this one. I think they do enough on offense. I think they get one turnover. That's the difference maker. And I have them winning, getting back to their winning ways after 2 letdown performances, and starting to finish the regular season on a high note.
Okay. I like that. For me, I agree with all that. Yeah, no, there's a whole bunch of calculus going on about like, oh, the Eagles are actually in first place in the NFC East because it's like, no. Fact of the matter is right now they're in second place in the NFC East. They don't have the number 1 seed. Yeah, I don't care about everybody else's schedules. That doesn't involve me. I want this game. I think this game, I'm thinking this game is set up for the Eagles to absolutely explode on offense.
Yep.
I think they're gonna bust one. It's just gonna be just goopy everywhere. They're gonna it's put your O face on because the Eagles are scoring 38 points. That's where I'm at with the Eagles score. This defense, we didn't really talk about this Seattle running game. That's because I don't think it's actually going to play again. Like I said, it's a dare you to. You can't run, a dare you to throw. Oh shit!
The Eagles, for whatever reason, are a pass funnel defense, and it just so happens they can't stop the pass.
It's bad. I think it's going to be a 38. I like 38-32. I think this is going to be an absolute piss load of points in this game. I don't think the defense is going to be able to stop much at all until I see that this defensive line can actually get their feet underneath of them. I that's where I'm at. I think it's going to be 38-32. I think it's going to be an absolute buttload of points on a primetime game, which I know does not happen. But that's where I'm at with. Well, I say it doesn't happen. We just had 63 to 20 something yesterday.
I have one caveat, and I'm not. This isn't a caveat for this week. It's just going forward. Dallas, and I think it's a product of their offensive line, was able to run the ball really, really well against the Eagles.
Yeah.
And that caught my eye because usually teams aren't able to run against Philadelphia. If this happens again against the Seahawks, and personally, don't think it will, there is going to be just absolute panic on my end about the overall Eagles defense, because if that aspect of it falls apart, oh boy, are they in trouble.
Yeah. No, that's that. then we're going to be in tough shape. Do you have a what the headline you think is going to be going into next week? Going into next week.
How much does Jalen Hurts have to score to ensure that the Eagles are able to win games, because the defense is that bad?
Yep, I think that's a good one. For me, I think that the national headline, is going to be, who cares? It was the Seahawks. And that's exactly where I want to be. I want it to be like, yeah, they beat bad teams, but they had trouble beating the good teams, because that's factual. I want it to be, who cares? It was the Seahawks. I want it to be that many points. That's what I'm looking for, is who cares? It's the Seahawks. All right, we're at an hour. Do you have anything else?
I'm good. I'm good.
Awesome. Sweet. Had my dig at the Chiefs. We talked about OCDC. We can talk about that some other time. Sweet. Awesome. Thank you guys very much for joining us, for hanging out with us on this Friday night. Your Philadelphia Eagles are going to Seattle a team who they haven't beaten since 2008, which is a totally different thing, but it's different teams. Everybody knows that. Have not beat Seattle in Seattle since 2008. That's where they'll be going and playing on Monday night. We'll be back with you guys on Tuesday after the game. I don't know. Go Birds. Talk to you later.
Peace.